not being able to look beyond the breakup. You're so infatuated, you're so in love, you're so in this breakup, and you're so stuck on this person. It's really hard to look above and beyond and even have any idea that there's anything else out there. But there is, and I'm proof of it for sure. I've never been happier, and I manifested everything that I've had with the help of coaching. I finally just made the decision. Everybody starts with the decision. You have to decide when enough is enough. You'll know, and you'll say, okay, I'll do anything. When you get to the point of I'll do anything to get over this. And I invested in myself. I started being a little more selfish. I started changing the way I was thinking. And once you change how you view things, your whole life changes. And I mean, our subconscious programming is 95% of everything. So we're doing all of this without even having thought about it. It just happens. It's what we attract without even realizing it. It's what we decide without even putting too much thought into it. It's breathing, it's our heart rate, it's everything. And it's more than our parents. Our teachers, our aunts and uncles, our siblings, they all play a fact in it.
Welcome to yourbrilliance.com. I'm your host, Amy Waterman. And today our topic is finding yourself again. So many of us get lost in our relationships. We spend our days being a sister, a mother, an employee, a wife, and we forget who we are separate from those things. We define ourselves by other people. We lose touch with who we once were before life just swept us away. Relationships are important, but they're not who we are. That's something that some of us have to find out the hard way through a major breakup or even a divorce. But you don't have to lose him to find yourself again. And that's something our guest for today, Jamie Trost, knows from experience. She's experienced a lot of bumps on her road to happily ever after. As a single mother, she knew she couldn't afford another failed relationship. And so she did the hard work of setting her intentions and manifesting her dreams. And today she is going to be married this year to the best man she's ever met. And she's helping other women manifest their perfect love along the way. Welcome, Jamie.
Hi, thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
So you teach an 8-week course on the art of manifesting love. So of course we have to ask, how did you manifest your own love?
Well, I manifested my own love because I went through terrible relationships, 3 of them that were 4 years long. So 12 years of my life was wrapped up in these relationships that always ended. And it took a while, but I had to take responsibility for what was happening inside those relationships. And there were some really crazy things that were happening. I had situations where men were having those online relationships. It's so easy these days for men to just message females, and I'd be sitting on the couch and my boyfriend would be sleeping and we'd be watching TV and his phone would be going off with women contacting him. And
Man.
yeah, it was devastating. I even had my wedding called off for one of those relationships 13 days before it was supposed to happen. We had a child together, so I walked away with a 3-month-old baby. I had no job. I had no home. I call that my little homeless period. Thank goodness for my parents. They took me in at the age of 25 with a 3-month-old. We tried working that relationship out, and it didn't work out because our counselor ran off with him, or he ran off with her, however you want to look at that.
I want to just clarify what we're hearing here. If you can do this, if you can make it through all of that, you've got the secret.
Yeah. I've got the secret.
That's right. So let me ask you something else. You actually originally started coaching women through breakups because obviously you've been through about the worst of the worst. How did you get over all of the stuff that happened to you? And like, what do you tell women when they look back and they've got these stories and they're thinking, I can't find love again because it hurt so much the first time around? What do you do?
It does. And when people say it's just love is impossible or love doesn't happen or who does it happen for, it breaks my heart, because I remember being there, and I remember being so devastated and not being able to look beyond the breakup. You're so infatuated, you're so in love, you're so in this breakup, and you're so stuck on this person. It's really hard to look above and beyond and even have any idea that there's anything else out there. But there is, and I'm proof of it for sure. I've never been happier, and I manifested everything that I've had with the help of coaching. I finally just made the decision. Everybody starts with the decision. You have to decide when enough is enough. You'll know, and you'll say, okay, I'll do anything. When you get to the point where I'll do anything to get over this. And I invested in myself. I started being a little more selfish. I started changing the way I was thinking. And once you change how you view things, your whole life changes.
Oh, fantastic. So one of the things that we do when we go through a breakup and we're kind of trying to figure out what happens, we really look at ourselves and we look at what we did, what we seem to always do, why this always seems to be happening to us. And one of the things I know with your work is you talk a lot about subconscious programming. So what is that, and how is it affecting us?
I'm super passionate about subconscious programming. It all started when I realized that I had been repeating patterns. And I can look at every single one of my relationships, even the relationship I'm in right now, and I can connect it to one of my parents. Some of the good qualities of my parents, like the relationship I'm in right now, has like great qualities of my mom. Like he's a lot like my mom. But then there were relationships where there were things that, and it's not that my parents were bad. I mean, this is not how, you do not have to come from, I don't want to talk like you have to come from a place of abuse, or you have to come from a place of complete devastation. My parents meant well. It's really how I interpreted it. And so how I interpreted the decisions and the things that they were doing, those were the things I was attracting into my life. So I don't want to make it sound like my parents were monsters, because they weren't. But two people can go through the same exact situation and think about it or have a different perception on it.
And that's why you need a coach. Is I think it's really hard to look objectively about your childhood. And one of the things I want to add to that that's so important is that our parents teach us what it is to love and be loved. So they are our first love instructors. And regardless, they could have been the best parents in the world, but what they did is they taught you about love, and you carried their teaching on through all of your relationships. So anybody, as long as they had parents, they have subconscious programming about love that needs to get unraveled. And this is again where coaching helps, isn't it? Is this where you started your work with your parents, is when you were doing coaching?
Yeah. And I mean, our subconscious programming is 95% of everything. So we're doing all of this without even having thought about it. It just happens. It's what we attract without even realizing it. It's what we decide without even putting too much thought into it. It's breathing, it's our heart rate, it's everything. And it's more than our parents. Our teachers, our aunts and uncles, our siblings, they all play a fact in it. In fact, the power of suggestion is so unbelievably powerful. And I want to do a quick little example with you. But if I say, whatever you do, do not think about a green hippopotamus. Do not think about a green hippopotamus. Did you think about a green hippopotamus?
The first time you said the word, it just came. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't help it. So even when people suggest things to you in your life, like I wish you were ate better, or
I wish you were thinner. That's a really one we hear a lot.
You carry that with you everywhere you go, just like the green hippopotamus, the minute it happens. And that all gets put into our subconscious programming. So when you hear things multiple times, or you start thinking that way, and it doesn't mean that it's the right way to be thinking either. So
wow. So thinking about subconscious programs, I'm trying to think of, some of the patterns that people go through. And kind of one of the ones I'd like to talk to you about is the pattern of self-sacrifice. So I grew up seeing my mother always put my father first. My father came first before anything. And so that was her job. Her job was to not have any needs and to serve her family and her husband. And so today, I look at myself, I look at a lot of the mothers I know, We're always giving. And here's the weirdest thing of all. We seem to attract men who are always taking. So how does that work? How do we stop that?
Oh, you just hit like, I hear it all the time on the phone, and I just go crazy because you're right. Men are always taking. There are women out there who are paying for everything that men want. Like they're like, well, I just don't understand. He stays with me for free, and I buy him this stuff, and I bought him this, and he comes and goes when he wants to. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it drives me nuts. Or there's the type where the man is financially supporting the woman, and she's like, she owes him for that constantly. It's expected. She has to earn it. Those are the two huge situations I see, where we're constantly giving away more of ourselves than we can. And I like to think about it as like a coffee pot with a coffee mug. If you're a coffee pot and you never have that fresh, wonderful coffee and you're always empty, your coffee mug just wants coffee. Like his whole purpose is to get the coffee. And so if you're this mug who can never fill your coffee mug, and you being the coffee pot, obviously, and then the person, your partner, being the coffee mug, that coffee mug will never be happy. It'll never feel fulfilled because it's never getting from you what it needs. You really have to go take care of yourself and fill up and get the best coffee that you can possibly get, and make sure you're nice and warm, and really maintain your coffee pot. And then you'll always be able to fill that coffee mug, and you'll be more attractive because of that. And you'll feel better because of that, and you'll love yourself more. And I mean, it's this whole cycle that you have to, selfish, the word selfish has such a negative association with it, but it actually is a really positive thing. When selfish becomes negative is when we go like way out of control with it, and it's always me, 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 me. But if we're a little bit selfish and we're always taking care of ourselves and making sure our coffee pot is full and with hot, nice coffee and good quality coffee, your coffee mug, whoever you're pouring out to, friends, family, relationships, they will be more attracted to you, and they will be better for you because you're setting the bar and you're setting those expectations of how you desire to be treated. Like no one could love me until I decided that this is how I'm going to be loved. I'm going to love myself. I had my coffee pot so full, it was overpouring. And now I can fill everyone's coffee mug, my sons, my relationships, my parents, my brothers. Does that make sense?
That makes total sense. And one of the things I'm thinking about is the reason we keep filling the coffee mug is because we're worried that if he says, right, I need coffee, and you say, actually, no, I'm percolating, he's going to go and he's going to get his mug filled by somebody else. And so one of our really big fears is that if we say no, because I'm actually filling my own pot, I don't have coffee for you right now, that we're going to get rejected because we're only loved for what we can give him.
And I think in reality, it's more likely that he's going to go look for another coffee pot who's full first before, you're right. We make our choices out of fear instead of out of purpose. And our fear is, well, if I stop giving to him, that he'll just go off and find another coffee pot. Well, he's already looking for the coffee pot because he's not feeling fulfilled from you in the first place, if that makes sense.
Wow.
And I'm not saying every man is going out and cheating, but they're definitely interested in looking, and you have to fulfill them first. You have to fulfill yourself and put that expectation up there.
Yeah. And that is another issue that concerns everybody is what if he strays? What if he goes away? And it's counterintuitive that you're saying that actually the answer is to take care of yourself. Not to fulfill his every whim, but actually the answer is to be selfish. But I'm going to be honest, I think a lot of us can't own that word selfish. I think it's so powerfully negative in, again, the power of suggestion. My mother brought me up, and that was the worst accusation. You're so selfish. And you're brought up as a kid. You cannot afford to be selfish, otherwise you won't be a good person. So how do we start breaking that pattern?
You reprogram yourself. And I know that sounds crazy, but I listen to things. Things come up in my life when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And I listen to things. Esther Hicks is someone I listen to a lot, and she talks about how you have to be selfish, how you have to be in tune with what you want. That's how I've done it. Reading subconscious books as well. I mean, just surrounding yourself with good coaches. I always have good coaches, at least one, sometimes two. Books and podcasts and books on my phone and YouTube videos. I mean, I'm always looking and listening.
That's right. And like this one, gals out there, keep watching because this is good subconscious programming. So I want to talk to you though about, you talked about coaching. Now you offer an 8-week coaching program to help women identify these subconscious programs that we've talked about and plant seeds for their new life. Tell us more.
I do, yeah. And I've had some really great results with my coaching program. It really helps women step into their power, take control of their life. And for many people, or for many women, it's the first time that they really understand the true meaning of love. And not what we're being fed by the tabloids and the TV. They were playing with your subconscious programming. You have to really protect your subconscious programming. In fact, I don't watch television. I don't even own a working television because I control what I want to watch. I don't want to be programmed by commercials and all that other stuff. I listen to certain radio stations. I mean, I'm very careful about what I'm putting in front of me and what I'm listening to. But back to your question, my clients walk away with an awareness of patterns that they've been repeating. So that's the first thing we work on. Then we take those patterns and I teach them how they can use those in order to change their life and manifest what they really desire to come into it. And I love manifesting. I mean, I'm sure heard me this weekend. I was manifesting stuff all the time. Then I help them realize how to really truly love themselves. Fill that coffee pot all the way up so that you can pour it into your little coffee mugs in your life. And lastly, what it looks like and learning how to love your partner in the right way. Because like we talked about earlier in this podcast, we're always giving. We're really not loving the way we should be. First, you love yourself and you work on yourself, and then you have more to offer everyone else. So
yeah, that's fantastic. So for those of you watching, if you want to check out Jamie's coaching program and find out more about the work she offers, we've got a link for you. Just go to yourbrilliance.org/Jamie. That's yourbrilliance.org/JAMIE. Jamie, thank you for coming onto the show. And we are coming to the end. I wanted to know if there was any last message you'd like to leave our viewers with.
I do. I have a favorite quote that I like to share with everyone. Life is simple. Everything happens for you, not to you. Everything happens at exactly the right moment, neither too soon nor too late. You don't have to like it, but it's just easier if you do. And that's by Byron Katie.
Fantastic. Thank you. And thank you out there for watching. We hope to see you again soon. Until then, let your brilliance shine.